Você está na Encruzilhada Blues Brasil.
Subscribe to the channel and turn on notifications.
She left on a Tuesday when the world was half awake. No thunder and no lightning, just the quiet she could make. I was in the backyard when the taxi came and went. Didn't even hear the door close or the goodbye that she meant. Came inside to find the half of everything that's mine, and half of everything that's empty, drawn along a line. She left on a Tuesday, not a Monday or a storm, just the middle of the week, when everything feels warm. She left on a Tuesday like it was nothing more than done. Left me standing in the Wednesday with nowhere left to run. She left her favorite mug because she knew it was my favorite too. A small and brutal kindness in the things that she withdrew. She took the albums, but she left the record player here. Took the music, left the mechanism and the fear. I played it silent, that old player spinning in the room, like a man still dancing long after the band has left the room. Wednesday came in heavy, like the sky was made of lead. I called into work early, and I stayed a while in bed. Not from grief exactly, more from wonder at the speed that a whole life can be reorganized by someone else's need. I thought about the years and tried to find a turning place, the exact moment when the love began to lose its face. She left on a Tuesday, not a Monday or a storm, just the middle of the week, when everything feels warm. She left on a Tuesday like it was nothing more than done. Left me standing in the Wednesday with nowhere left to run. By Thursday I was functional. By Friday I could speak. By Saturday I played guitar for 16 hours straight. Let the strings do all the crying that my eyes refused to make. Been a note so low and long it sounded like my heart could break. The neighbors left a note that said they hoped that I was well. Said the music was beautiful and sad and hard to tell. Now Tuesdays have a color that no other weekday wears, a particular light at morning when the whole week nearly tears. I drink my coffee from a mug each Tuesday just to feel something of the weight of what the days are meant to reveal. She left on a Tuesday, but she left me with a song, and a man with a song, and a my hand and looked me in the eye like gospel truth. Said you'd stand beside me through the fire and the proof. We built it side by side. I thought you meant every word, but a promise from a liar is just noise that sounds like hurt. When the trouble came a-knocking, and it knocked at my expense, you were gone before the echo, sitting pretty on the fence. Blood on the promise, blood on your word. The prettiest vow you ever made is the ugliest I've heard. Blood on the promise, dry as a bone. You bled me of the trust I had and left me to atone. I gave you the name of every person who had helped me rise. You took those names like ammunition wrapped in alibis. I watched you climb the ladder that I helped you find and build. And when you reached the top, you cut the wrongs and let it tilt. My daddy warned me once about the kind of man you are. He said the sweetest talking people always leave the deepest scar. The people who believe you too are waking up in turn, finding out the hard way every lesson I had to learn. I could say I told them so, but that would be too small. And small victories over liars ain't victories at all. I'm more interested in the question of my own mistake. What it was inside of me that kept the faith for your own sake. Blood on the promise, blood on your word. The prettiest vow you ever made is the ugliest I've heard. Blood on the promise, dry as a bone. You bled me of the trust I had and left me to atone. I rebuilt from the rubble with the same two working hands. Found people made of something more than promises and plans. Trust is a construction that takes longer. The second time, every brick laid more deliberately, every joint and every line. I'm careful now with who I let inside the building site. A man burned once in daylight learns to check it in the night. I heard you're doing well now, and I genuinely don't mind. Bitterness is a prison with no windows to unwind. What you did defined you, but it's done defining me. I'm too busy building something new to nurse an old debris. But I write this song about you so the world can most I had and left me to atone.
There's a winter in my chest that don't wait for December. It comes when it wants to, doesn't care to remember that summertime is outside and the roses are in bloom. It just sits there cold and heavy in the center of the room. The doctors give it names and write their careful little scripts, but a name don't melt the frost and a pill just barely grips. Winter in my chest, winter in my chest, snow behind my eyes, snow behind my eyes, the kind of cold that doesn't care about the season or the skies. Winter in my chest, winter in my chest, no fire gets through, no fire gets through. Lord, I'd trade 1,000 summers for a thaw that felt true. Some mornings I can push it to the edges of the room, get myself upright and moving through the ordinary gloom. Shower, coffee, shoes, the ordinary acts of will that convince the world outside that everything is still, that convince the world outside that everything is still. The winter in my chest stays quiet when I keep on moving fast. It's in the stillness that it rises from the frozen past. Winter in my chest, winter in my chest, snow behind my eyes, snow behind my eyes, the kind of cold that doesn't care about the season or the skies. Winter in my chest, winter in my chest, no fire gets through, no fire gets through. Lord, I'd trade 1,000 summers for a thaw that felt true. Once all through a long and wordless night, didn't try to warn me if I'll ever understand. Just sat there in the blues when the winter gets too thick to breathe. Let the guitar be the feeling that my body can't retrieve. There's a physics to the music and the sadness in the string. The vibration of a minor chord is a living, breathing thing, and a thing that has a name can be survived another night. Eventually I've learned to trust on that. April finds a way inside no matter where the winter's at. I've made it through enough of them to know the winter lies wails you. It's forever underneath those frozen skies. So I waited out with music and with anyone who'll stay, and I thank the Lord for every single winter survived day. Winter in my chest, no trade 1,000 summers for a thaw that felt true.
On the wrong side, and I know the divide. The train ran through the middle, and the money lived beside. We had church and we had hardship, and we had each other's backs. But the good schools and the good jobs were the other side of tracks. My mama worked 2 households to keep one of our own, and I learned the way to labor before I was fully grown. Other side of the tracks, other side of the line, where the gardens have no fences and the street lights all shine. Other side of the tracks, I looked across the gap. Lord, everything they took for granted, I worked my whole life at. I loved a girl from the good side, in the summer of 16. She had a laugh like money and a dress of evergreen. Her daddy drove a Cadillac, my daddy drove a mule. She looked at me like something worth the risk of breaking rules. We met in secret for a season, till her family put it down. Said our kind of love was something that don't work in this kind of town. I crossed that track on scholarship at the age of 22. Sat in lecture halls with people who had never shined their shoes. I learned the language of the other side, word by careful word. Learned which fork to use for salad, kept my accent barely heard. But at night inside the dormitory, I would lie awake and wonder what exactly of myself I had to fake. Other side of the tracks, other side of the line, where the gardens have no fences and the street lights all shine. Other side of the tracks, I looked across the gap. Lord, everything they took for granted, I worked my whole life at. I made it by the measure that the other side respects. A title and an office and a series of effects. But I still feel the tracks running through the middle of my soul. That invisible partition that no achievement makes whole. I go back to the old neighborhood on holidays and such, and I'm just foreign enough on both sides not to touch. My daughter grew up somewhere, but the tracks don't run through town. She's never had to worry about which side brings her down. She takes the openness for granted, like the air she breathes each day. And that is all the crossing over ever needed to repay. The other side of the tracks is a distance and a dream, and a man who crosses over learns that nothing's what it seems. Other side of the tracks, other side of the line, where the gardens have no fences and the street lights all shine. Other side of the tracks, I looked across the gap. Lord, everything they took for granted, I worked my whole life at. Side, and I know the divide. The train ran through the middle, and the money lived beside. I grew up on the wrong side, and I know the divide. The train ran through the middle, and the money lived beside. We had church and we had hardship, and we had each other's backs. But the good schools and the good jobs were the other side of tracks. My mama worked 2 households to keep one of our own, and I learned the weight of labor before I was fully grown. Other side of the tracks, other side of the line, where the gardens have no fences and the street lights all shine. Other side of the tracks. I stepped out on the back porch in the middle of the night, looked up at the sky for something patient and bright. The moon was there a moment, then it slid behind a cloud, as if even the heavens found my company too loud. The stars just kept their distance in their cold and scattered way. Even the moon looks away from a man like me today. Even the moon looks away, won't give me any light. Even the stars have found some other corner of the night. Even the moon looks away when I come out to greet. Lord, when even the sky won't witness you, what do you believe? I've done things in my living I am not proud to own. Treated people like the furniture of a temporary home. Took the love and took the labor, and I gave back very thin. Told myself it wasn't cruelty, just the way I've always been. But a man can only run so long from what he knows is true. Eventually, the moonless night will call you to review. My boy won't answer when I call, and I can't blame him now. I was 40% of a father, and I don't know how I justify the missing of the games in the report. Told myself that
called my best friend Charlie, said my woman's gone astray. I called my brother Charlie, said my woman's gone astray. He told me, don't you worry, everything will be okay. But when I went to find him at the tavern down the street, yeah, when I went to find him at the bar down the street, I saw his car and her car, and the circle was complete. It's a backstabber's waltz, and they're dancing on my heart. It's a backstabber's waltz, and they're tearing me apart. The two people I trusted played a dirty double part. I walked up to the window, saw 'em laughing in the booth. I walked up to that window, saw 'em laughing in the booth. The whiskey in my pocket was the only bit of truth. They didn't see me standing in the shadows and the rain. No, they didn't see me standing, crying in the pouring rain, while they were making plans to increase my heavy pain. Your name on the graveyard wall. That's all you do, that's all. clock strikes 12 but I can't find no sleep. The clock strikes 12, and I can't find no sleep. The silence in this room is getting way too deep. I hear a sound like your heels upon the floor. I hear a sound like your heels clicking on the floor. But it's just the wind knocking at my door. I'm living with a ghost in a house of broken dreams. Yeah, I'm living with a ghost in a house of broken dreams. Nothing in this world is ever what it seems. Yeah, you left me here, yeah, with nothing but the blues. Lord, you left me here, yeah, with nothing but the blues. Your smell is on the pillow, your shadow's on the wall. Your smell is on the pillow and your shadow's on the wall. I'm waiting for a phone that's never gonna call. I poured a drink to wash away the pain, yeah. I poured a double just to wash away this pain, yeah. But it feels like I'm trying to stop the pouring rain. The sun comes up, but the world is still in gray. The sun comes up, but my world is stuck in gray. I don't know how I'm gonna make it through the day. If you see my babe, tell her how I'm doing fine. If you see her, tell her I'm doing just fine. Oh, but don't tell her I'm dying. One glass at a time. One glass at a time. Just me and a ghost. doctor. Lord, he won't find no pulse. My heart stopped beating when you left for someone else. I'm walking and I'm talking, but I'm 6 feet underground. I'm moving and I'm breathing, but I'm 6 feet underground. I'm a ghost in this city, and I don't wanna be found. I'm a dead man walking in a world of living man. Yeah, a dead man walking in a world of living men, waiting for the graveyard to call me home again. Ooh. Put my suit in the cleaners, put my shoes out in the hall, clean my Sunday suit and put my shoes out in the hall. I'm just waiting for the moment when the shadows take it all. The sun feels like ice, the wind feels like a shroud. The sun is cold as ice, and the wind feels like a shroud. I'm screaming out your name, but I don't make a sound. Buried alive with the blues for a tombstone. There's a tapping on my window, and I'm pounding on my door. Yeah, there's a tapping on my window, and I'm pounding on my door. The landlord's asking for money that I don't have no more. I looked into the cupboard and I found it bare and dry. looked into the cupboard, Lord, and I found it bare and dry. My baby saw the empty shelves and didn't even cry. In the dark, 'cause the power line is dead. For my old rusty Ford. Yeah, the repo man is coming for my only rusty Ford. I'd pray for some mercy, but I'm hiding from the Lord. I got holes in my shoes, and the rain is coming in. Disappears when the sun goes down, but a woman's love is a vapor when there's no gold to be found. I'm a king of nothing on this lonely, dusty ground. Nobody's home. Just me and the echo. Crossroads, when the moon was turning red, there I went down to the crossroads. Lord, when the moon was blood red, made a deal for the music. Now I wish that I was dead. I got the fame and the fortune, and my name is in the lights. I got the gold and the glory, and my name is up in lights. But I'm sleeping all alone through these cold and bitter nights. And he didn't want my soul. No, no, the devil came around, and he didn't want my soul. He took the woman that I loved, baby, and he left me in this hole. He said the music costs a price. Oh, now you pay the toll. Like a woman, every time I touch the strings. My guitar wails like a lady every time I pull the string. It's the only voice I hear and the only song it sings. I give back all the money and the fancy diamond rings. I give it all back, baby, all those shiny diamond rings, just to have you back again, and the joy that loving brings. The deal is done, stage is dark, the crossroads are waiting.
Você está na Encruzilhada Blues Brasil.
Subscribe to the channel and turn on notifications.
Thank you for watching this video.